Hello everyone, this is Janet from Mixed Media Mama. Thank you so much for coming back. And if you are new to this channel, thank you for giving me a chance. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think. This is a finished project for Junk Journal Treasure, and it is using Marije's new digital collection of her papers. It is phenomenal. She is just a fabulous creator. Her digital collection, for one thing, is absolutely huge. Second of all, I will put all of the necessary information down below. But oh my gosh, it is so versatile, so easy to use. I really don't have to think really too hard anyway. And of course, as creatives, we always overthink things. But I am loving this collection. Anyway, enough of just drowning in her praises. I finally finished it. The first video, and I will link that video down below, the first video was creating this big, huge envelope. And I was inspired, and I will link that video below. I was inspired by another beautiful creative, and she made a little smaller envelope. But I took it one step further, of course, and I want to show you a whole flip through. The first video that I did was work in progress, and you saw how I made this whole, well, at least the finished project of the envelope outside. And it is literally made out of a file folder and then Marije's digital pages and everything. And then I had this, I'm going to take all of these out. I had made this, there we go, just of an expanding file folder, and I had showed you, and that was about it. I had not made this journal. So basically it was, the first video was this, and I'm gonna kind of come, I really like that faux vintage tape over her face. I think it is so cool. That is just, and then of course I am definitely a sewer. I love to sew. But Marije has really taught me a lot, just a lot in her classes and her workshops. The details for me is the thing that makes every project. And she is a queen of details. So anyway, I'm going to put this kind of off to the side here. I'm going to move my little junk metal tray. Love that. I'm going to move that away and just put that right there. I'm going to go right to, these are the tags that fill up this little file folder here. Now, like normal, the journal is a chunky monkey, and I have vowed for 2025, all of the things that I do are going to have pockets, tucks, places that you can put photos. I am such a memory keeper. The rest of my life, I want moments that go deep and run rich. And I think photos and keeping those memories alive are the ticket. So I make, every journal that I make is all about tuck spots, pockets, you know, there anywhere you can put photos in. So that is what all of this is. So let's just go right to the tags for that expanding folder. First one, and you can see that place for that photo is quite small. It is quite small, But I know many of you have so many photos on your phone, and you can print it off this small if you need. There are many different types of printers out there. Many of my friends, creative friends, have this little tiny printer that is about this big by this big, and you can do multiple collages and print them off even down to a 1x1 photo. And so that is what I have for this. And look at that. I just really took apart some of the things that she had in her kit. And of course I stamped a bit. And of course I sewed a bit. This is just on some plastic packaging, and you've got the same. So you have, this tag has two area for 2 photos. And I believe I took Tim Holtz stamps. So that was that one. This one is a slide in. You know what? I should probably have a piece of paper to show. I'm just going to show with a piece of paper here. This is a slide in, maybe here. It is to, oh, there we go. It's a slide in like here. So I only attached it here and here. And so you can put your picture in right there. I'm going to get you a picture actually. There we go. This would be perfect. Look at this. This is just a photo that I got from an estate sale. Oh, look at that. That's 1918. Oh, and it's a photo on the other side, but this kind of shows you that you can just tuck a photo in right here. And that is how I love those. So this one right here, it's just with some old, I want to say it's almost like parchment paper, but it's just so old and almost very delicate, but it's not. It's really durable. But I made a frame, and then this little frame right here, or this little picture right here, pulls out. So you can get a picture and put that in there in place. Then on the back, I always try to have some place, not on every picture, but sometimes I do, to journal. There you go. Same thing, a photo. I just wanted to bring up this area. I just love that. I love clusters. I just think clusters are just the greatest. They're so easy to use up tiny little scraps too. Stamping. This was a great one. I'm going to use this instead of my fat fingers. This is a little flip out. And that just the cutest. I just used Tim Holtz die and her paper, and I just made a little specimen card, but you can put a picture in there. This picture's a 1x2 picture. My fingers sometimes get in the way, so that's why I'm using. And you can see this is just another little pocket. That Speedwell is the tuck spot for a picture. Isn't that just so cute? And I just put that through the base of her paper. I just put it through a die folder, embossing folder. And you can kind of see in the back. Oh, and this one was fun. This one was fun. It is just of course, you can see the acetate. This is a acetate. It's a little bit heavier, and so I wanted to put these circles onto the acetate and then put that onto the background. And you can see her paper in the background. And this tucks underneath the acetate. And this is kind of a wallet size photo, maybe a 2 3/4 by maybe 4 3/4. And that's just an example. Oh, come on. There we go. So those are the tags, actually, and I will just put them right in. See if I can put it this way. This is one of my, I'd have to say, just because of this little specimen flip out, that was one of my favorite tags. They're all my favorites, but this second one I have two, because I just like the little edge peeking out, and then this last one, front and center. There we go. And it has a nice little, I just love that look, how it just peeks out from the top. Okay, now to the journal. I used her, you can tell I used her, and I just really wanted to make kind of a Mod Podge of it all, so to speak. So 3/4 of the cover was out of one background paper of Mary's, of the Pastime digital kit. If I didn't say that before, all of the digitals are from her new kit, Pastime. And then this one, I really wanted to use, like I just meshed. It was from the same different sheet off of her kit, but I just wanted to sew it on. So the cover is really a manila folder, and I just cut it down to fit the big folder or the big envelope, and I just loved it. Of course, you can see that I embossed, I sewed, you know, this right here. I don't know if you can see the sheen, but this is just from Seth Apter's stencils I love using, and then glazes. There you can see the sheen. All of that is, and then I just splattered it with, you know, white paint, and that's really it. That's a little signature of Mary's I borrowed, and a little piece of lace. So, I mean, it's kind of chunky. This is probably one of her project 3. I just expanded the project a little to make a journal, and she will recognize some of the first 2 pages. The journal itself is in the center of she just made a little file folder, and that was one of the projects in project 3, her class. And this really is kind of the whole thing. I just wanted to show you. I'm not going to go into detail because I will put her link to her classes and her email and how you can contact her. But let me tell you, her classes are just phenomenal. Very easy to understand. I am so thrilled that I get the opportunity to learn from her. So let's just jump right on in. This is the first inside And you can definitely see that it is, I'm going to go a little closer so you can see, definitely see her papers. I just made into a nice little tuck spot. You know, I know sometimes, you know, it's hard to have photos that small, but come on, with the technology today, it can happen. So basically, let's start up with here. Here is just a nice little cluster. And basically it is just I just used a couple of labels that I already had here. Used one of her numbers in a die cut, another die cut, and just bits. Basically it was just literally bits. And I just cut out this. You can recognize this from her kit. And it's on a little bit of a library card. And I just made a nice little tuck right here with a little cluster there. All about photos, to put photos in. Okay, right here, this little side pocket, this flips open. This little side pocket holds a photo, but it can hold just, if you just want to put the photo in, you can. This is just a part of a tag, and I just basically took a piece of her background sheet or backgrounds and put it on, and then use a film strip and added a little film strip across and added a little fiber, and to put a photo, you can put a photo, the whole, you know, the whole, if you want, doesn't matter. All about displaying those photos. And it just closes like that. Isn't that just the cutest? Now, in her project 3, she had, Mary had a, you know, a sequence of where she had her 2 envelopes, and I switched that around because to make it fit me. So on this one is just basically, it's a short side of the envelope, but I wanted to have it as a tuck. So basically what I used is that her backgrounds or her papers, and then of course this is kind of a signature for Mary too that I borrowed. Thanks, Mary. And I used Tim Holtz rub-ons, and I just love the zigzagging around. She teaches a lot of things in her classes also, and I really would like you to take a moment to go on her Junk Journal Treasure Facebook page and see the fabulous creations that people do make, because it does make a huge difference. So this one is just that backside of the flip. I tried, this was kind of a failure, but I like it. Failure success thing right here. Of course, I stamped just a tad bit on the inside, but this was a piece of her paper. But if you kind of see the leaves there, my embossing ink was not very wet, and I embossed using and then glaze, but it just made it darker. But looking at the whole thing, I kind of like it. So it was a failure at first, but then I went, oh, that's not too bad. Well, here's the tag. Here's that tag on the back. And this is kind of a really cool thing. I just took a small, and this was from her kit. I took a small, one of the small windows, and when you print out her kit, the great thing, you can make it whatever sizes that you want. And I knew I wanted some really small and really large. And so I made this into kind of a belly band, so to speak. This little snippet strip, and this is of her kit. And I just backed that onto a card, a thicker tag piece, remnant actually. And I just made a holder. Basically, it's a belly band holder. And you could put a long, slim picture in there. It is so, so cool. And this is just plastic packaging. Wanted him to stick out, and a little sewing, and that is it. That is it. There we go. There we go. So this next page is just a tuck spot, just like that. I did a lot of stamping and stenciling. Let me, this page, you know, a stamping and stenciling, and this is just part of her paper. I mean, it's that simple. It is literally that simple. So I took a let me see if I can hold it. I took basically a tag, and I used one of the Tim Holtz new vault collections to replicate a ticket, top and bottom, but then I used Marije's paper as the background. And this is a strip of, and you recognize these numbers. This blue background here is her background, just a piece of her letterhead. She had a letterhead, I believe, and I put this on the inside and made a tab out of one. I just love that. I just made a tab out of that. I had some 49 in Market frames, small frames, and I put a piece of acetate on the top, because then if you can barely see it photo here, you can put a photo right there. And this is about, I want to say 1 3/4, about just under 2 inches by 3.5. So it really is a nice little, you know, little film strip. And it's just, so if you put a nice little picture on, that's all you have to do. I just love how that, and it just slips right on in there. That little fabric tab with her numbers on it. Okay, I made another accordion folio, I guess, if you want to call it, an envelope out of her papers. And this time I only put 2. There we go. You can see that better. These are so easy to do. These are so easy to do. You just make, basically, it's a library card envelope, and you just glue them in the middle. That's it. That's how easy it is. And then the tags are just simple tags. I literally just made a tag, put a little tab and fabric, little faux vintage tape. Yeah. Easy peasy. And this is another slide in for a picture. This picture is just a hair bit too tall, but that's what it is. It's just using her papers and I embossed, glazed this frame and sewed, and you can see the sewing. I sewed the acetate, because it is a piece of acetate, because I wanted it a little bit thicker, just to hold it. It wouldn't flip around, to hold that, I don't know, it just gives it a different look. So that goes into the top. perfect. Now this is where, as you can see, this is where I expanded between the two front section and back section. And I just made a little journal. I just had some vintage paper, some vintage onion skin that I had dyed. I put a little bit of fabric in the middle just to strengthen it as I sewed it. And it's just a three-stitch pamphlet stitch, or 3-hole pamphlet stitch to hold the whole book together. Excuse me. And I just basically made 2 specimen cards, or specimen frames, and you can put 2 pictures, front and back. That's it. That is it. So easy to make that. This was a really fun. So this little ticket tag here is basically holding this flip open. And I just, this is another little tab, or excuse me, a tag, and I shortened the tag, put 2 little grommets in, put a little brad here, and that just holds this little ticket. And you can put a picture right on top of this, but this, that ticket holds this flap shut. I'm going to talk about that because there is basically a specimen card. You can put a photo right there. Another bigger, larger specimen card using her paper and Tim Holtz rub-ons. Yep. And then this was just a collage of leftover scraps. And I just sewed, added some my vintage faux tape. And that's it. And then that was just a pocket that I used out of crumpled up her paper. And that keeps that, but there is a bigger, larger tag. It doesn't flip open. Sorry, I said that. It is just a pocket. So this is for a larger photo if you would like. And the photo just places right on top. And you can see I love that grungy of the edge. And you can put a photo here also. If you do not, you can just put the photo there, and I love that. And it's pretty sturdy. I printed this onto presentation paper, so it's very sturdy. And it just pops back into there. And that holds it closed. Cute. A lot going on there, but it really is quite simple. This piece right here is just a one piece from her paper, digital paper, pastime. Love the numbers. Added another little faux piece of ephemera that I got off of an estate sale. And the last page, same thing. This little ticket is holding this. This is where the flap up is. This little ticket is holding it shut. But I do have a tiny little pocket right here. And I just use some leftover, this is actual part of a stamp that I had. I just had some stuff laying around on my table. And this is about a 1 inch by 1 inch. Sometimes my fingers are too fat. A little ticket that I made out of her paper. This is another envelope. You can put a nice little picture there. Excuse me. And it flips open. This is a tag that I made. Mass Make March was this last March, and Crafty by Tony was doing all kinds of this stuff, so I got the idea. I used Mary's digitals. Love that, I think. And this little envelope is from the kit of the Pastimes of Mary's, and I knew I had to put it in. So I put a bigger, and you can put the photo there. I going through it now, I'm going through this whole book now. I didn't put the photo here, you know, stamp there, but you can kind of figure that out. And I love these numbers, Mary. These are just so cool. Love the font. Great, great, great. Okay, I made a really, really cute. Oh, love this. This is from Tim Holtz Vault, I believe. I don't know which one it was, but I'm sure all of you have seen it. And I just raised this just a bit so you can put a photo. It looks like a tiny little clipboard. And the area for the photo is probably 1 3/4 by 2. And a little collage on the back. Or if you want to put another photo there, you can put another photo there. This is probably 2.5, maybe even 3 by 5. I want to say 4.5. And it slides right in there. I made a belly band a bit, and there is the leftover. So we're going to close that, put that there. Oh, I missed something here. Oh, this was right here. Close that, put that, that holds that close, and there is the back. And that, I'm going to put that right back in here. It just slides right in there. All ready for you to add photos. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with me. Hey, write down, comment down below and let me know what you think. What is your favorite part of this? Do you like the aspect of having so many places to put photos, or do you just love the creativity? Well, you know what? I am so inspired by all of you. So you are the ones that inspire this project right here. So this is a project for Project 3, and a little bit of Mary's influence. Well, what am I saying? It's a lot of Mary's influence. And all of you, hey, I just want to thank you. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.